Hi guys. I'm gonna talk today about the Sunderland game. Arsenal played in the Carabao Cup, and just a few observations about the game. The Gunners played a very much changed 11, which I think could actually really help them when it comes to the next coming two games, the 26th and the 28th. If those two games are going to continue and go ahead, Arsenal are going to need to rely on these guys who played minutes in this game. We don't know the status of Tomiyasu's injury when he came off against Leeds for the last 20 or so minutes. So Cedric, who got a further 90 minutes under his belt, could play a game either at Norwich or against Wolves at the Emirates the following match. I think Cedric is clearly not a player most Arsenal fans enjoy having in the team. I'm not one of his biggest fans either. But at this time, going into the trenches with everybody, it becomes a very much a squad game. This time of the year, especially, playing two games in 48 hours is not ideal. I don't know why that continues to be done. I know it's tradition, but there are some traditions that we don't continue with. And maybe it would be better if you gave players at least 2 days in between games, a full 2 days, and then play on the third day. I don't think that would alter the traditions too much. So you'd play, everybody would play on the 26th, and then you'd play on the 29th, and then you'd play on the first or the second or whatever. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that right now. I'm just looking at like what possible solutions Arsenal have. And maybe Arteta may have to go to a back three to kind of like pack his players in a little bit more, so that players are working shorter distances across the phases of the field. Or you just keep the same system and just give about five or so of the good performers from the games from the game against Sunderland. So I'm curious what people are thinking about those two games, especially up front. There's no Aubameyang, and there's only Lacazette at the moment, who is kind of like the trusted center forward. I know many people have said things about Martinelli playing at center forward, and maybe he gets a run in one of these games. I don't know though if he gets a starting run in both of those games at 90 minutes at center forward. And I think he's actually played so well on the left that it would be I think it would be a little bit too different to play with him, having the team haven't gotten used to a striker who can hold the ball a little bit up, a little bit better. But I'm curious to see what Arteta will do. If I was, a voice on his team of like people who are giving him, opinions on this, I would definitely push for a front four that's different for both of those games. So like I would play the best front four in the second game against Wolves, because that's going to be harder. So the front four that's been playing of Laka on the right, Martinelli on the left, Odegaard and Lacazette. So like Saka, Martinelli, Lacazette striker, and Odegaard behind. I would be inclined to play that foursome as a quartet of upfront players in the Wolves game. That would then mean in the game against Norwich, you could probably give Eddie some minutes up front, Pepe some minutes on the right, and maybe not Balogun. Maybe you split the minutes on the left between Smith Rowe and Saka. And then the minutes at number 10, you can split the minutes there between Lacazette and Odegaard. So you play with Eddie and Laka at the beginning, and then maybe have Odegaard coming in. Some combination of that, and then keep the back four the same if you can. Unless, of course, if you're going to make changes, though, for me, I think you make them in the Norwich game. because these guys have just played now. And then by the time you play Wolves, because Wolves would have played their last game on I think the 19th. So Wolves would have had 7 days of no games at all. So they would have an advantage in that Arsenal game. So I would like to see Arteta make some changes, a lot of them, not necessarily to not play the first 11 guys against Norwich, but making sure that they are getting maybe between 30 and 45 minutes rather than 90-minute performances. The center backs you can kind of keep the same. The goalkeeper you can probably keep the same too. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, but I think the front four that played against Sunderland would be good enough to challenge. I know Odegaard was part of that, and Smith Rowe. And if he goes with those guys, then maybe giving those two a break so that they can play at the Emirates again when Wolves come for their visit. What do you guys think? I'm curious as to like what some of you guys have as opinions in terms of what to do with those two games in particular, because if we win those two games, it leaves the City game, going into that game a little bit more confident. I think not winning these two would make going into City at home a very different experience, because none of us are really expecting anything from that game. But it would be nice to go into that game having gotten 3 points from both of these next two games, or at least 4 out of 6. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope you're staying safe over the holiday season. Cheers.